Welcome to the Making of Me podcast, where we explore the defining moments that shape extraordinary people into who they have become. The guest is Dr. Alan Weiser, clinical psychologist, Anthony, chronic pain mastery expert, and founder of New Option Inco in Seattle. As 12 and a half years old, he broke his neck in a dining accident and nearly died. What followed was a 2 years recovery that cracked open questions he would spend the rest of his life answering about pain, suffering, identity, and what it actually means to heal. That single moment shaped a lawyer, a psychologist, a clinician, and a man who has dedicated decades to helping others master what once nearly broke him. Alan, it's really a pleasure and honor to have you on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, Alan, before the incident, before any of the life that follows, who were you as a boy? And what kind of 12 years old walked into the pool that day?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was always interested in cartoons and fantasy. For me, life was kind of an adventure. You know, the children that like to pick up a big
Yeah.
rock to see what's under it
Yeah.
and then share it, share it with your friends. So I was curious. I was headstrong. I was one of those kids that wanted to figure things out for themselves, which is why I did that diving without any lessons, right? Just figured I could figure it out. So I was curious. I was relatively fearless, actually, until the accident.
Yeah. Oh, that was really a whole lot. So you broke your neck in a diving accident at a local swimming pool. Take us back into that moment and what followed. What did you actually remember, and what was the first thing that told you your life just fundamentally changed?
Yeah, I remember vividly. My family belonged to a local swimming pool. I had seen other kids doing diving. I wanted to get into it, and I wanted to do a backflip. Looked like fun, and I thought I could figure it out. Did you know when you do a backflip, you're supposed to dive out from the board, not straight up?
Oh,
Yeah, I came down on the board. I broke my neck in two places. That was bad. And I remember hitting the pool, and the lifeguard was in there, fortunately. For some reason, he wanted to grab me around the neck the way they do. And I told him, don't. I didn't know. I was like that. But that was just the beginning. And it's a long time ago. But then I'm taken to the hospital. I'm put in a cast. I know I've broken my neck. All right. Remember, I'm 12 and a half.
yeah.
And picture the scene. The doctor comes in. My family's not there yet. Doctor comes in, he looks at me, and this is the turning point in my life, actually. He says, if you don't die and you're not paralyzed, you will be fragile and crippled for the rest of your life. I'm 12 and a half. I actually was calling friends to say goodbye. And I lived in that state of mind for the next several days. And obviously I wasn't dead. I wasn't paralyzed, but they were going to keep me in the hospital for months in a cast and then a brace. And eventually I made so much of a fuss at the hospital, they sent me home. But even so, once I got home, I was on my back in a bed with a brace, not allowed to get out of bed or move around much for 1 year. Now, the thing that's really important about it and informed the rest of my life is if you talked to me at the time, you would have gone, he seems to be fine. Put on a happy face, didn't complain, did my best to not allow myself to know how I really felt. Imagine being told that, right? It pretty much shattered my confidence, which I wasn't willing to acknowledge. Then I was so atrophied after being in bed for a year. I wasn't paralyzed, but I had to learn how to walk again. So the recovery took several years. And the whole time, if you talked to me, you would not know I'd been through anything, right? Yeah,
Wow.
I know. And that's part of the problem. So here's the part just to give you a sort of quick preview, and it also leaps into the future. I didn't realize this until maybe 10 years ago, and this is many years later, right? But when I was in high school, I nearly flunked. I nearly failed high school. By my junior year, I was going to not even make it through high school. Now, I've got 2 PhDs. Obviously, I should have been able to make it through high school. But if you asked me at the time, why are you failing? I would have said, because I'm not smart, right? And I meant it.
Yeah.
And until I ran into a chemistry teacher in junior year who saw me failing and said, why are you failing my class? And I go, because I'm not that smart. He goes, yes, you are. And I go, like, no, I'm not. I wish I had videoed it. It was a funny conversation. But he was a really likable guy. He tutored me. I got a C in chemistry. It started me thinking, but maybe, right? But here's the real point. Here's what I never remembered until 10 years ago. It was the thought I had, because I never questioned, why did you think you were stupid, right? The thought I had when the doctor came in the room is stupid, stupid, stupid. Look what you did to yourself.
Hmm, that was really a whole lot, and those particular was being able to shake off your self confidence and not making it to see yourself as being smart after the incident was really a whole lot. Oh,
The worst
so
of it,
coming
the
out,
worst of it, yeah, the worst of it is I needed to know why I had such trouble, why I had lost confidence, why I became somebody who wasn't willing to take risk anymore. I had no idea. I made it because I'm strong. You laugh like, hey, by the time I got to college and going like, I'm tired of being fragile. I worried about bumping into a wall or falling down, right? So what do you think I did to test the theory? Because the doctors didn't do proper follow-up. I signed up for judo and trampoline. Ever seen a judo throw where they smash you to the ground? Yeah. Turned out that I was okay. Found out later on that my neck had a natural fusion and it was fine. But the doctors never told me that could even happen,
yeah,
right?
wow,
And so that was the beginning of a number of challenges where I found out two things about myself. One, there was always somebody there, like my chemistry teacher, to go like, wait a second, you're more than you think you are, right? There's always somebody there to help move me along, or people to hold up the mirror and go like, you're not seeing yourself clearly. People to encourage me. I had a lot of people in my life, still do, who would be there to help me. We need each other. And that was how I made it through that. And eventually started out as a trial lawyer, but my ability to do that was affected by this. Oh,
yeah,
yeah, I could get through
yeah,
law school. I could do well, but there was always that nagging fear in the back of my mind, right?
yeah,
Uh,
amazing. Also coming out,
I did, yeah,
yeah,
sorry, I did a lot of dangerous and challenging things, but the whole time I did whatever I did, always in the back of my mind, like, it's okay, I would do it anyway, but never with a sense of embracing who I am.
amazing, amazing. So coming out of recovery, you became a trial
Mhm.
lawyer and took a martial arts. Most people will see these choices as unrelated. What were you actually looking forward in both of the pursuits?
I wanted to help people that felt helpless. I think it was part of that. I understood what it felt like to be powerless and helpless. And I wanted to help people. I was raised in a family culture that really respected that. I wanted to help people. My first job was with Legal Aid Society in New York. I wanted to be there for people who couldn't defend themselves, couldn't help themselves, couldn't be empowered.
Yeah,
And so I worked at being an attorney, trial work and other things for quite a while, but always knew like, I don't know, is this really what I want?
yeah, amazing. So you spent years, so at some point, something deeper started calling, and you walk away from law to pursue clinical psychology. What made you take that on, and what did you understood about yourself by then that make the switch feel inevitable?
It's actually the death of my father around age 30, and he died in terrible ways. He had early onset Alzheimer's, and I mean really in his 50s. So by that point in my life, I was close to 30, and I'm going like, I don't know what's wrong here. I've done everything I was supposed to do. I followed the path laid out for me as a child. Sure, go to school, become a lawyer, do something like that,
Yeah,
right? It wasn't working, was not working, and I was learning about the reality of the world. Part of the reason I became a lawyer is because I knew the world isn't safe and you need power. And
yeah,
lawyers have power, but I don't like it's not really the power that I'm looking for.
mm,
And then I just basically decided to drop everything, took a little bit of money, had a friend living in Amsterdam. I never traveled outside the country and went to Amsterdam and spent months after that traveling. Eventually ended up living in Marrakesh in Morocco. Learned many lessons about life, especially spending time with Bedouin and learning about the desert and that kind of tribal culture. I realized I wanted nothing to do with Western culture. It didn't fit who I am. I'm about nature. I'm about natural things. I'm about being in tune with the way things really are. I came back changed, and I go like, I can't go back to doing that. And eventually, I met somebody and helped me see that my search for doing what I wanted to do would lead me to do something else. My younger brother was a
yeah,
psychologist, so I was kind of looking at that, and I go like, yeah, let's do that. And so I did. I found a way to keep working as a lawyer and go to graduate school and managed to get through it. And what the next major turning point in my life, my first real job was working in a state mental hospital with the chronically mentally ill.
mm,
I would never have done that if not for the fact that I had to do the internship as part of my degree and ended up staying for 10 years.
yeah,
Running up against people that are that damaged is where I began to learn the lesson that what my work now is based on. And that is, it's not about a mental illness. It's not about an injury or a disease. People's lives are completely impacted by this. If you're trying to help a person heal, you've got to look at everything about their life, physical, emotional, psychological, and existential. And helping those patients taught me many lessons that, sure, I'm smart and I'm insightful. Try and be smart and insightful with somebody who's psychotic and institutionalized. Doesn't work. What did work was me being a person, was me understanding how to listen and be in relationship and develop trust. So I could not have had a better lesson in sort of what I learned growing up and then being in that environment and going, yeah, this is what I want. And I continued to do that work when I moved to Seattle. The problem is the community mental health system really badly broken. And I would come up with all kinds of innovative ways to do it. I was good at what I did. I had incredible supervision and training. Eventually, I realized that that wasn't going to work. I could be ahead of the pack and I keep looking back, but nobody was catching up, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was systems issue. It wasn't about me or what I was capable of, which is why I ended up doing a lot of program development, a lot of supervision instead of just doing therapy. So when I decided to stop doing that, that was really heartbreaking for me.
Yeah.
And I just kind of coincidentally took a job temporarily working in a pain management clinic. I'd never done that before, but I was experienced. I find people whose lives have shattered. They're not psychotic, but their whole lives have been broken by what happened to them. That kind of reinforced it and it challenged me to build on what I learned in the hospital. What am I supposed to do to help these people? If I
Yeah.
showed you a list of all the problems my patients have, you go, oh my God. And I remember the first couple of sessions going like, I think I can do something about this. You know, you've got major back problems, shoulder problems, knee problems, you've got diseases. I'm going like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Because of who I am, this is where the broken neck and what I did about it comes in handy. What I found out about myself throughout the course of my life is when I am pushed, when I'm put up against the wall, I go like, I don't think so. I'm going to figure my way out of it. And fortunately, grateful that I can be creative.
Yeah.
And I started going like, okay, if a person is impacted across the board, what do I need to look at? And that led to the development of this model where the centerpiece is a simple way to think about it. You have whatever challenge life throws at you, right? Because life is dangerous. There's going to be side effects. But here's the question. Whatever you do to deal with it, whether it's pain or emotional problems or COVID or the state of the world, is what you're doing to help yourself, having you living in healing, is everything that you do physically, emotionally, psychologically, essentially contributing to healing. For example, if you suppress your emotions, it doesn't contribute to healing. If
Yeah.
your thinking is not objective, it's belief based, it's messed up, does not contribute to healing. If you try and avoid having people help you, not healing.
Mm.
So when I talk to people about this model and the existential immune system, it is a set of tools provided by evolution to make sure that whatever you do, you're always contributing to healing.
Mm.
Healing is a lifelong process because you're not going to run out of things that challenge your needs.
Mm.
So I'm very grateful. I have to be honest with you, blown away actually that everything I've been through has led to what I think I'm able to do for people at this point. You've heard this before from other people that you learn from suffering. I don't think you learn from suffering. I think you learn through suffering.
Yeah.
And the hard part to humans is to embrace that pain, embrace the losses. If you do, it opens the door. You have innate potential that's mind boggling. The people we find inspirational, they're us. We all have that potential, whether we show it or not. So sorry, I'm making a speech, but
Yeah, amazing. It was really lovely and a whole lot of things to actually want to glean from it. And the fact that, yeah, when you were now reaching out to help, you remember when you were out or when you were at that particular hospital and that triggers to actually help them one. Yeah, it's really amazing, especially when you make reference of the existential immune system and a whole lot of things that doesn't link to healing. And also that healing is a lifelong process. Yeah, it's amazing.
one of the major elements in my life. I've been a martial artist for over 50 years. Martial arts, I don't know if you've done that, but martial arts really teaches the same idea. You don't know your potential. That is another major
Yeah.
influence in my life.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing. So you describe chronic pain as carrying collateral damage far beyond the physical. What are those hidden costs and why do so many treatment approaches miss the entirety?
I'll give you an example. Okay. When I do an intake packet, it's 65 pages long and it's looking for collateral damage. For example, I don't know if you've had this experience, but people that are damaged this way, they may lose their sense of identity, right? I used to be a big, strong guy and now I'm compromised. Well, I've lost my identity, right? We take, for example, continuity, that every day has a certain continuity to it. Well, what happens when you lose that? What happens when you have problems that make your life unpredictable? These are existential damages. Nobody's looking at those things. Nobody's looking at the damage to your self-image, the damage to your sense of belonging. There are so many different things that can be affected, and even physically, just simply being weaker. What does that mean to you? Or being compromised, or having to be obvious to other people that you're human and vulnerable. It's a shock to the system when humans discover that they can be hurt. Most of us grew up thinking, oh, we're fine. It's safe, right? No. And whether you're 12 and a half years old or older, the first time something happens to you, you can't walk away from, it's an existential crisis. So
Yeah.
there's a long list of things, but the medical profession, and I have respect, I work with really good people, they address 10% of the problem. So, for example, let's say you break your leg, and I'm a doctor, right? You come to me and I go, broken leg, took an x ray, put it in a cast. 6 weeks from now, you do some rehab, you'll be fine, right? Okay, do I ask you, how do you feel about having broken your leg because you've never had an injury before? Don't ask that. What do you think about yourself having being a person who broke your leg? Well, I'm not asking about that either. Does that affect your sense of identity and your standing in the world? Does any of that matter? Doctors do not ask those questions. They do not treat those things. And every one of those collateral damages can be treated. And I say this to people, we may not be able to change your physical state at the moment, but your physical state's going to be compounded by whatever's going on and how you manage the stress. And stress is basically a state you enter when your needs are threatened. Collateral damages threat your needs. 200 needs threatened, and you're trying to deal with it by being stoic or remaining ignorant. I've had over 5,000 patients, and I'll ask them, do you understand your structural issues? No. Do you understand why treatment works or not? No. Why? These are good doctors. Why aren't patients getting good information, right? I have inventories that just talk about all the damage treatment does. If you look at my book, there's 2 chapters on that. And more importantly, what to do about it, right? I am not critical. I'm not concerned. This is life. This is humans, right? Things don't always work. I'm more interested in, okay, what's it going to take to make it work?
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. So your book is called The New Possibility. Understanding is mastery and mastery. Chronic pain. What is the central ideas you most want readers living with chronic pain to take from it? The things that could genuinely shift how they see their situation.
3 things. Number one, the word chronic is misleading. What is going on is that it's persisting. It's persistent something.
Mm,
Chronic tends to sound like a life sentence, but if you look at the title, it says unraveling the mystery. Collateral damages are the mystery. When people read the book and they work with me, they go, "Oh my God, I didn't understand all those other things were affecting my state." Right? Stress can undermine your immune system and affect healing. If you don't know how to cope well, if you don't know how to manage it, and you're up against something you're not prepared for, you might have a great coping system. I wasn't ready to break my neck. My system crashed. All right. My patient systems, no matter how strong they may be, they crash. Right. So I want people to understand you're not failing. All right. You just don't know that you're up against 50 opponents when you thought you only had one. And you wonder why you keep getting knocked down. They go, my God, thank you. Even before I meet with them the first time, they can see that. And then I go, and here's what you can do about that. You're not going to
yeah.
hear from me that can't be treated. Learn to live with it. You will never hear me say accept your problem.
Yeah.
Does not exist in my vocabulary. Acknowledge it, deal with it.
So lastly, Dr. Alan, what legacy do you hope your work leave, especially for people who have been told there is nothing more that can be done, and who have started to believe the suffering is separating the life they are left with?
History is filled with people that demonstrate what humans really are and what we're capable
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
I just want to be somebody who's contributed to that. I'm not
Mm,
arrogant. I find it kind of fascinating that I'm even where I'm at and what I'm doing and what I've developed because it's unique. I want to be one of those people like I was when I worked at Legal Aid or when I was a kid.
yeah.
I want to help people. I want to help people. Being alive is a gift, but it's also a challenge. You get those 2 things together. I hope what I've done and what I'm doing for people helps people to understand their real power and their potential and that even though life is really hard and really difficult than human beings, if I was an alien looking at the human race, I'd be going like, "You guys are crazy. Look what you do to each other. There's a big universe out there. What are you doing?" But I want to contribute to what other people have done before me. That people really understand they have so much more within themselves
Yeah.
and take personal responsibility. Learn to choose.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah. Help people understand the power they have within themselves and help people take. Yeah. responsibility. Yeah, this has really been amazing now. So, Dr. Allen, from our audience who would love to reach out to you, either for your book for one or two questions related to the topic, and those who want to follow you on various medias to connect with you, how can they reach out and where's the best platform?
Yeah. It's under development now, but you can go to newoptionsinc.com. That's our website. But if you really want to get more information, feel free to contact me directly. I have an email address you can use.
Yeah,
It's a Weiser, Weisser at New Options Inc.
yeah.
And
Thank you
anybody
so.
who wants to reach out, I will be more than happy to give people time to answer questions. We are in the process of working with a branding and marketing company we have an existential dojo. All right. We're
Yeah,
actually going to be launching classes and educational programs, seeing me once a week. You want to get a black belt, you need to come more often. So just so people know there'd be more availability than just seeing me as a therapist. You'll have an opportunity to learn a lot about this approach without having to necessarily even see me.
yeah.
So that's
Amazing.
coming. If you watch the website, you'll see that whatever's coming up, and that'll happen next 2 or 3 months. I'll probably be doing a podcast soon. So directly, you can use those addresses, but be on the lookout because there's a lot more being made available.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Allen. Thank you for such a profound and deeply human conversation. You're going to remind us that the moments that break us open are sometimes the very ones that reveal what we are truly made of and what we are here to do. Once again, it's really a pleasure, honor, having you on the show, Dr. Allen.
And look, I appreciate the opportunity.